There is one habit, practiced by Marcus Aurelius on the battlefield, by Epictetus in chains, and by Seneca in the corridors of power, that changed everything for them. They didn't shout it from the rooftops. In fact, they barely spoke about it at all. It's the quiet discipline of turning inward, of focusing on yourself, and staying completely, powerfully silent. And today, I'm going to show you exactly how this one philosophy, practiced for over 2,000 years, can reshape your entire life. Welcome back to Wisdom of the Stoics, the channel where ancient philosophy meets your modern life. If you're new here, welcome. You've arrived at exactly the right moment. And if you've been here before, you know what we do. We don't just talk about Stoicism, we live it. Today's video is going to be different. I'm not just going to give you a list of tips. I'm going to take you on a journey through the minds of the greatest Stoic philosophers who ever lived, and show you, step by step, what it truly means to focus on yourself and stay silent. And I want to warn you right now, some of what I'm about to share might make you uncomfortable, because the truth about silence and about truly focusing on yourself goes against almost everything modern society is telling you to do. So before we begin, if this kind of deep, life-changing content speaks to you, go ahead and subscribe. Ring that notification bell and stay until the very end, because the final section of this video might be the most important thing you hear all year. Let's begin. Think about the last 24 hours of your life. How many opinions did you give that nobody asked for? How many arguments did you get pulled into that had nothing to do with your goals? How many times did you check your phone, refresh a feed, react to something that, in 5 years, you won't even remember? This is not an accident. We live in an economy of attention, and your attention, your focus, is the most valuable thing you own. Every notification, every controversy, every viral debate is specifically designed to pull you away from the one thing that could actually change your life, yourself. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Marcus Aurelius, Meditations. Marcus Aurelius wrote those words nearly 2,000 years ago. 2,000 years, and yet they could have been written this morning, because the battle has always been the same, the battle for your mind, the story of Epictetus. Let me tell you about a man named Epictetus. He was born a slave, not just poor and a slave. He had no freedom of movement, no property, no rights. His master once twisted his leg so brutally that it broke and left him permanently lame. And yet, Epictetus became one of the most powerful philosophers in human history. Emperors studied his work. His words still echo 2,000 years later. How? Because while the world was controlling his body, Epictetus made a radical decision. He refused to let the world control his mind. He turned inward. He focused on himself. And he stayed silent about everything he could not control. Men are disturbed not by things, but by the opinions about things. Epictetus enchiridion. This is the first and most foundational Stoic principle. The disturbance is never outside you. It's always inside you. And until you understand this, truly, bone deep understand it, the world will continue to own you. So the question becomes, what does it actually look like to focus on yourself? What does it mean to stay silent? And why is silence so powerful? That's exactly what we're going to unpack. And we're going to do it through 5 extraordinary Stoic principles that will change the way you see everything. Most people misunderstand Stoic silence. They think it means being cold, emotionless, distant, a robot in human clothing. That is not what the Stoics meant, not even close. Stoic silence is not the absence of emotion. It is the mastery of it. It is the deliberate, conscious decision to not speak, not because you have nothing to say, but because you understand that your words carry weight and you refuse to waste them. Principle 1, speak less, mean more. Better to remain silent and be thought a fool than to open one's mouth and remove all doubt. Adapted from Stoic tradition, Seneca, writing to his friend Lucilius, was almost obsessed with this idea. He watched people around him, wealthy senators, military generals, men of enormous power, destroy their reputations, their relationships, and their peace of mind entirely through talking too much. He wrote, "Retire into yourself as much as you can. Associate with those who will make a better man of you. Welcome those whom you yourself can improve. The process is mutual, for men learn while they teach." Seneca, Letters to Lucilius. Notice what he's saying. Retire into yourself. Associate with those who improve you. And most critically, be selective about who gets your energy. Think about how many conversations you've had in the past month that drained you, that left you feeling worse, that pulled you into other people's drama, other people's problems, other people's chaos. Now ask yourself, what would your life look like if you simply didn't engage with those conversations? This is not cruelty. This is not arrogance. This is one of the most loving things you can do for yourself and ultimately for everyone around you. Because when you protect your peace, you show up as a better person in every interaction that actually matters. Principle 2. Your silence is your strength. There's a psychological principle that the Stoics understood long before. Modern science confirmed it. Reactive people are predictable, and predictable people are controllable. When you react immediately, when you argue back, defend yourself, explain yourself to everyone who questions you, you hand over your power. You become like a puppet, and the person pulling your strings doesn't even have to try hard. Marcus Aurelius knew this. He was emperor of Rome. People tried to provoke him constantly, rivals, enemies, senators with hidden agendas, and his secret weapon was devastating in its simplicity. He just didn't react. The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injustice. Marcus Aurelius, Meditations. He didn't need to argue back. He didn't need to defend himself. He simply continued being who he was, disciplined, principled, focused, and let his life speak for itself. This is what Stoic silence looks like in action. Not weakness, absolute, unshakable strength. I want to ask you something, and I genuinely want you to think about this. In the comments below, tell me, what's one situation in your life right now where staying silent might actually be the most powerful response? Let me know. I read every single comment. We live in an era of comparison. Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube. Everywhere you look, someone else's highlight reel is playing on a loop. And the unspoken message is always the same. You're not enough. You're behind. You should be further along. The Stoics would have recognized this immediately, and they would have called it exactly what it is, a theft. Not of your money, not of your time. A theft of your attention, and therefore a theft of your life. It is not that I am brave, but that I know what is not worth fearing. Marcus Aurelius. Principle 3. The dichotomy of control, your superpower. Epictetus built his entire philosophy on one foundational idea. He called it the dichotomy of control, and once you truly understand it, I mean really internalize it, it will feel like someone has handed you the keys to your own mind. Here it is. Some things are within our control, and some things are not. Simple, almost stupidly simple, but follow it all the way down and watch what happens. What is within your control? Your thoughts, your choices, your effort, your attitude, your response to what happens to you. What is not within your control? Other people's opinions, the weather, the economy, what your boss thinks of you, whether your last post went viral, whether someone likes you back. Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. Epictetus, Enchiridion. Now here's where this gets profound. Most people spend 80% of their mental energy on things they cannot control, and then they wonder why they feel exhausted, anxious, powerless, stuck. Focusing on yourself, truly, deeply focusing on yourself in the Stoic sense, means redirecting that 80% back to you, back to your craft, back to your growth, back to the things that actually move the needle of your life. The story of Seneca's retirement. Late in his life, after decades in the dangerous political world of Emperor Nero's Rome, Seneca did something extraordinary. He stepped back. He gave up his enormous wealth, his political influence, his social standing, and he focused entirely on himself, not selfishly, not in isolation, but with radical intentionality. He spent his final years writing, thinking, corresponding with friends, working on his own character. He wrote about this decision with remarkable clarity. Withdraw into yourself to the extent you can. Associate with those who will make you a better person. Admit only the worthy into your company. Seneca, Letters to Lucilius. Seneca understood something that most people spend their entire lives never discovering. Your inner world is the only world you truly own. And the person who cultivates their inner world with discipline and intention will eventually transform their outer world completely. And this brings us to one of the most misunderstood aspects of Stoic philosophy. The idea that focusing on yourself is somehow selfish. It is not. Let me show you exactly why. There's an old analogy about the oxygen mask on an airplane. They always tell you, put on your own mask before helping others. Not because your life is more valuable, but because if you lose consciousness, you can't help anyone. The Stoics understood this with extraordinary depth. A person who is scattered, reactive, unfocused, and drained cannot genuinely contribute to the world. A person who has cultivated their inner life, their character, their discipline, their clarity, becomes an anchor for everyone around them. Principle 4. Become a lighthouse, not a mirror. Most people are mirrors. They reflect back whatever energy the world sends them. Someone is angry at them. They get angry back. Someone criticizes them. They collapse or explode. Someone praises them. They float on cloud 9. Their entire emotional state is determined by external input. The Stoic goal is to become a lighthouse. A lighthouse doesn't react to the storm. It doesn't move when the waves crash. It doesn't change its beam based on what the weather is doing. It simply shines steadily, reliably, and in doing so, it saves lives. Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul. Marcus Aurelius, Meditations. When you focus on yourself, when you do the inner work, develop your character, master your reactions, grow in wisdom, you become that lighthouse. And the people in your life, your family, your friends, your colleagues, they feel the stability you carry. They lean on it without even knowing it. This is the paradox of Stoic self-focus. The more deeply you invest in your own growth, the more powerfully you serve others. The hidden cost of living for others' approval. Let me ask you something honestly. How much of your energy right now is going toward managing what other people think of you? Your social media presence, the way you dress, the opinions you perform, the achievements you announce, the people you pretend to agree with because disagreeing feels too risky. All of that energy has a cost. And that cost is paid in the currency of your authentic self. First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Epictetus was relentless about this. He watched people, educated, intelligent, well-meaning people, destroy their inner peace trying to manage their image, trying to control what they couldn't control, trying to be accepted by people who didn't even know them. And his prescription was always the same. Come back to yourself. Decide who you are. Then live that quietly, without announcement, without seeking approval. The person who needs no one's validation is the freest person in the room. This is something I think about a lot, and I'd genuinely love to know, if you're watching this right now, what's one area of your life where you've been living for others? Approval instead of your own values? You don't have to share it publicly. But just sit with that question, because the answer might be the beginning of everything changing for you. Philosophy without practice is just decoration. And the Stoics were, above all else, practitioners. So let's get specific. What does it actually look like in your daily life to focus on yourself and stay silent? Here are 5 Stoic practices that you can start implementing today. Practice 1. The Morning Silence Protocol. Marcus Aurelius began every single morning the same way. Before the palace filled with noise, before the petitioners arrived, before the responsibilities of empire descended on him, he sat, he wrote, he thought. His meditations were not written for publication. They were his private morning practice, a conversation with himself, a daily recalibration of his values. Do this. For the first 20 minutes after you wake up, do not touch your phone. Do not check your messages. Do not consume news or social media. Instead, write 3 things. who you want to be today, what you're grateful for, and one thing within your control that you'll act on. It sounds simple. It is not easy. But Marcus Aurelius did it while running an empire. You can do it before your commute. Practice 2. The selective silence rule. Seneca had a practice he called selective silence. Before speaking in any situation, he would ask himself 3 questions. Is what I'm about to say true? Is it necessary? Is it kind? If the answer to all 3 wasn't yes, he stayed silent. Try this for one day, just one. Before you respond in any conversation, text, email, in person, pause and ask those 3 questions. Notice how many of your usual responses don't pass the test. And notice what happens to your relationships and your peace of mind when you hold back what doesn't. Practice 3. The voluntary discomfort practice. This one surprises people. The Stoics regularly practiced voluntary discomfort, choosing to go without something comfortable, sleeping on a hard floor, eating a simple meal, going without their phone. Why? Because comfort is a chain. When you are attached to comfort, anything that threatens it owns you. When you have voluntarily experienced discomfort and survived, you know, at a cellular level, that you can handle it. Endure and keep yourself for days of happiness. A Seneca. Once a week, practice one deliberate discomfort. Fast for a day. Take a cold shower. Turn off all screens for 24 hours. These aren't punishments. They're training sessions for your freedom. Practice 4. The evening audit. Every evening, Epictetus recommended reviewing the day, not to judge yourself, but to understand yourself. 3 questions. Where did I lose control of my responses today? Where did I speak when I should have stayed silent? Where did I look outward for what I should have found within? This isn't self-criticism, it's self-knowledge. And self-knowledge is the beginning of self-mastery. Practice 5. The sacred space of inner retreat. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Marcus Aurelius. Marcus Aurelius wrote about the concept of inner retreat. The idea that no matter where you are, no matter how chaotic the external world becomes, you can always retreat inward, into the quiet space of your own values and clarity. Whenever the world feels overwhelming, before you react, before you speak, before you engage, take 3 slow breaths and come back to yourself. That 3-second pause is not weakness. It is the foundation of every good decision you will ever make. I want to be honest with you about something. When you start focusing on yourself and staying silent, it's not going to feel powerful at first. It's going to feel uncomfortable because the people in your life are used to a version of you that reacts, that explains, that defends, that performs. When you stop doing those things, some people are going to be confused. Some are going to be threatened. Some are going to try even harder to provoke a reaction. Let them, because here's what's going to happen on the inside if you stay committed. Your anxiety will begin to decrease, not because your problems go away, but because you stop fighting battles that were never yours to fight. Your focus will sharpen dramatically when you stop giving your attention to everything that asks for it and start directing it toward what actually matters. The quality of your work, your relationships, your growth, everything accelerates. Your relationships will deepen. Counterintuitively, when you become more selective about who gets your energy, the connections you do invest in become extraordinary because you're showing up as the real you, not the performed, approval-seeking version. And perhaps most importantly, you will begin to trust yourself again. The constant noise of other people's opinions will fade. And in that silence you will hear your own voice clearly. Perhaps for the first time in years, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Marcus Aurelius, Meditations. 2,000 years ago, a slave with broken legs changed the world through the power of his mind. An emperor of Rome wrestled with his own character. Every single morning in private, journals that were never meant to be read. A wealthy advisor walked away from power and status to focus entirely on becoming who he was meant to be. They didn't have social media. They didn't have algorithms or notifications or endless content competing for their attention. And yet the battle they fought, the battle for their own minds, their own focus, their own inner peace, is identical to the battle you are fighting right now. And the solution they found is identical too. Focus on yourself, not obsessively, not selfishly, but deliberately, consistently, with the quiet confidence of someone who has decided that their inner world is worth protecting. Stay silent, not forever, not completely, but strategically. Save your words for what matters. Save your energy for what builds. Save your attention for what transforms. Because here's the final truth the Stoics want you to understand. You have been assigned this mountain to show others it can be moved. The Stoic wisdom. Your life is not just about you, but it starts with you. And if you are scattered, reactive, and living at the mercy of every opinion and event around you, you cannot be what you are meant to be. So begin today, quietly, powerfully. If this video spoke to something in you, if there was even one moment where you thought, I needed to hear that, I want you to do 3 things right now. First, hit that like button. It takes 1 second, and it tells YouTube that this kind of content matters, which means more people who need it will find it. Second, subscribe to Wisdom of the Stoics if you haven't already. We are building something here together, a community of people, committed to living with more intention, more depth and more genuine power. And third, share this video with one person, just one. Someone in your life who you think might need to hear this today. Because sometimes the most stoic thing you can do is quietly hand someone else the key to their own freedom. I'll see you in the next one. Stay silent, stay focused, stay stoic.